All right, guys. Thanks for hopping on team training call. We get right into it today. Got a super special guest, one of my favorites in the business, Mr. Dave Whichard, FFL Velocity. How are you, Dave?
I'm great, man. I appreciate that. You're one of my favorites too, Ty. Enjoyed seeing you and your wife last night. It's always good to be with you guys for sure.
Absolutely, man. It's a good time. So I wanted to get you on. We had you on 3 4 months ago, but I want to get you back on because you one of the newest integrity partners, got a lot of good stuff going on, and just kind of wanted to learn from you again because a lot of agents may not know who you are. But like I said, you're one of the best to do it. So, for those that don't really know who you are, could you just give like a quick little 1 2 minute, just kind of who you are, what you were doing before this, and kind of what led you here, so people can kind of get a feel for who you are.
Yeah, hey, nice to meet all you guys. I've met before, and so I've been in business a while. I was another practice company for 19 years. I started a business when I was actually 27, and I just knew I wanted to help people. At that time, I hadn't even made a multiple figure income. I'll say it that way. And what I just wanted to help people, and I knew renewals and things like that all interested me about the business. So that's why we chose insurance. And sort of having a lower carry comp over there at 70% of the time as an agency owner, which is crazy, right? Think about. And I just I was ready. I think you have a time and a path, and I looked at this opportunity for several months, spoke to Andrew multiple times, and then just made that decision. It was best for my family, but it was also best for the people that I worked with. So it's either continue to drag them down that road or not. Now, I didn't bring anybody here, but what I did do is once I went in February of 2020, I went to a convention in Vegas. I felt God had his hand on my life that, hey, this is the right place. I left there and just went all in. Went out Road Hall of Fame. Why? Because that's the money, the seed money. I didn't have money. I mean, people might think I did, but I didn't. It was actually, and a lot of companies allow you to go into debt to build an agency. Here, I simply realized all I had to do was keep working, right? And I could do that. So worked really hard, casted the vision, listened to Sean, and then we grew fast because I was able to post on social media. That's the power of social media. And be able to tell people, hey, here's what I'm doing without even calling or anything. Mm-hmm. And then, we had Eric come by, and then, some other guys came over, and, we continued to recruit. I can poured it back in. We hired 5 staff within that first, we went from basically ground zero to, over, 1,000 families a month, I guess that'd be in a very short period of time. And we're very blessed for that. So it's just a great opportunity. So that's kind of what happened. It certainly changed our lives. And then, even before integrity, our lives had changed. It gave us a real business that we could grow, help a lot of people, make some money for our family, pay our bills, things that we weren't able to do. And so that's our story. And we were blessed a couple weeks ago to make that official. And at the end of the day, it's like I told you last night. Seeing the video, I just remembered feeling like I just want somebody else to feel that feeling. So. Honestly, I've just worked the same since it happened. The day it happened, I didn't think any different. So,
what's going on with that with the Zoom?
No, so thing I want to ask you, and I appreciate you sharing all that. But like when you first came into this, Dave, and I'm curious, like what at your other company, what did you guys do for leads? Like what was that even like before you came here?
We didn't have any leads. So that was different. I cold called, knocked on doors for a living, either entered businesses or knocked on doors in residential neighborhoods. So the only leads that we created were our own, through leads and referrals and things of that nature.
Okay. Because and what some people may not know, I mean, Dave has a massive agency partner, but he also his first year went out and did Hall of Fame. And I want to learn a little bit from you on kind of what you did. If you have a brand new agent coming in today, maybe they're 6 months in, haven't hit Hall of Fame. Just like, what are some like if you had to go back what are some tips you could give to someone to get to that Hall of Fame standpoint, right? Because most people come into this and they have to sell insurance to make money, right? That's why they're here. But like, what kind of advice can you give to someone that is brand new, got to pay their bills, but they also do want to grow a business and eventually get to, where you're at? So just maybe some just helpful producer tips, really.
Well, guys, I mean, being transparent, I just didn't take a lot of time off. I worked hard. I saw the opportunity was in front of me. I wasn't afraid of work. I actually loved being in the homes. That's what I did. I was very purposeful with my schedule. So nothing deviated that. Every Monday, every Thursday, I was dialed at 7:30 in the morning, booking appointments, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, every Friday, almost, I'd probably say 2 Saturdays a month. I was pretty much in the field running, or I was always available for my agents because of the time, being there for them. And I just knew that if I submitted minimum 10 families a week, right, I knew that'd be okay. And that's all I focused on. So if it was, Friday, say Thursday, Friday, I did that. Maybe Thursday afternoon, I ran an appointment or two, Friday and Saturday going into Monday. It doesn't mean I didn't stop. I still dialed on Monday. So because some of those weeks, it wasn't just 10, it was 12, 15, 20, you know what I mean? And so I think that what happens with agents that have never made that kind of income or protect that many families, the hesitancy is, hey, I don't have to work as hard, right? And that's the difference between a Hall of Fame agent, in my mind, and one that's not. It's just simply that. It's only more leads, seeing more people, and working harder. That's really it. Because there's a ton of people here that'll protect, 20, 30 a month, but yet they could get to 40 by just doing just a little bit more. And that pretty much ensures they're going to hit that number. And it's also it's making a decision and that being that's it. I mean, the finish line's there. How hard are you going to work for it? I mean, using Stephen E as an example, a couple of years ago, I remember he was going into December. Hayes Miller was going into December. Both of them had to protect 70, 80 families that month to hit it, but that was their goal and they weren't going to give up. In my case, I was blessed to get just a little bit before that, but I really didn't start that till mid-February, I guess, and I finished it like middle end of November. So my point is, it was just the focus of not giving up, but it was the daily activities and consistency and not taking time off. Very little, if that, maybe a day here, a day there, but it wasn't much.
What did it take now from the beginning? Were you writing 10 policies a week out the gates, or what did that like transition?
My first month, again, guys, I have experience. I never sold a lot of life insurance. Like we had a product that wasn't really that good. So I barely used an iPad at the other company. They just had started doing that. So it was always paper apps up to that point. So I had to, go in the field and learn what we had here. But it really, truly is simple. I just followed what Andrew told me to do. Buy leads, dial the phone Monday, Thursday, and run them. So my first month, actually, being transparent, Ty, I protected, I submitted over 60, and I think it was 48 families showed up. And the reason I say that, guys, is because for me at that time, it was, hey, does this work? Of course it worked. I mean, there's too many people not doing it. So I was just going to work really, really hard and see if this thing was what it says. And it was. And then I think the next month it would have been like 20. So again, I was still trying to figure it out. And then a month later, it was basically the third month, I believe it was, is when we went to convention. And it was like, okay, it's time to really go all in and take more money and hire staff, office, and things like that. But yeah, it's a system that works for anyone. And I hate to say this, anyone who's willing to work, be teachable and coachable. I've never, and to this day, I've never argued. I've never questioned anything Sean or Andy's ever told me. I run my business. I talk to them when I need to, but I run the business. And I think that's where people need to understand if they want to build a big business, Ty, the biggest thing we have to teach them is the business acumen side of this business, right? Meaning, here's an account, treat it like a business. I had some of that because I ran a business for a while, right? But most people come here, they have no clue, zero. Can they go out and sell? Yeah. But then what are they doing with the money? Like, it's not their money, it's the business's money. So we have to teach people from the very beginning, this is a business account. You pay yourself a paycheck, whatever you need, not changing your lifestyle. I had to catch some bills up, pay credit cards off. That's what I did the first 3 months just to get back to where I could operate. And then after that, it was like I had a little bit extra money, and it literally wasn't in my business. It was in my business account, but I paid staff and those type of things. So I think the one thing that most people miss is that we have to teach them the business acumen so they don't hurt themselves. Because some people go out, protect 10 families. They've never made that kind of money. Next thing you know, they spend most of it. They get a charge back, 1 or 2 here. It's going to happen, guys, 70% and 30. Remember, everyone tells you that, but we have to be very clear about that. So I think if I had to look back on our business, that would be one thing. We started doing that. We started talking about the road to Hall of Fames. We did the first one in Charlotte. And I remember that was the most important thing for me to tell those people, is we have to be truthful about that, because some people just think, hey, I'll just keep doing this. I didn't have to worry about myself, Ty, because I knew that I could do it, right? Once I proved myself I could do anything one time, I could do it over again. See, and I think people don't even understand that. See, some people come here and they work and they do it, but then they go, oh, and then they stop, right? But if you knew you could do something over and over again, why would you save all the money? I didn't save it. I'm not saying don't save some. I'm saying keep it over in this account, but you're not trying to build up, 200-300, what kind of money I'm talking about in an account. We're not going to save ourselves to success. You're not going to do that. I can promise you that doesn't work. But if you put the money and the fuel back in the business, it will work. But we have to start it out right, which is treat it like a business. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. What are some of the things you did? Because again, a lot of people, they come into this and they want to build a big business, sell at a high level. But I think sometimes people get overwhelmed by it because it is a lot, right? Especially when you're selling, you have agents calling you, you're trying to help staff, you're trying to get all your systems up, you're putting money back into the business. There's a lot going on. What are some of the things you could give? Because we got a couple big managers on here that Kiefer, Evan, there's a couple others too that are up and coming. But what are some things that you could give tips to them in terms of managing the time between selling and building and being effective with it? Because obviously you did a very good job of it. You went out and did Hall of Fame. You were one of the fastest to hit board member, right? So what are some tips that you could give to anybody that's trying to sell at a high level and also build quickly?
Well, I think it's making a true decision. For me, my why was huge. Finding out what your why is to, I just wanted to help people. I certainly wanted to change our lives and things like that. But I believe that God, I just feel like that was my purpose. And so once you find your purpose and your why to go out there every day, it's not even work. So even though I put a lot of time in, now it's just my life, man. Like, this is what we do. So once you really, think about it, guys. If you spent several, and I can talk about this with not our business, but let's just say you spent $100,000. You had to go take a loan out to start a business, or 200 or 300. A lot of people do that, guys. They start franchises and things like that. Guess what? You don't have to do that here. But what you can build is massive. And if you talk to any restaurant owner, you talk to any, and I'm talking about the people that want to build business, not the person who wants to go out here and make some money selling pipe trucks. I'm talking about. But if you do that, you're sacrificing so much up. How many hours are you going to work a week if you just took out a loan for multiple 6 figures or 6 figures or started a restaurant? Dude, go ask any restaurant owner how many hours they worked their first 5 years. They don't even know what their bed looks like, much less anything else. They're sleeping in the middle of the restaurant, trying to figure out how they're going to keep the doors open the first couple of years, hoping enough people come through it. That's a fact. And most of them fail. Most of them. I don't know what the percentage is. High. Here, all you have to do is consistently work and do what you're taught every single day in the field. Take the money, hire good staff, have an office that's productive, and scale it in the proper way, meaning get a good person to help you recruit, maybe do a little admin work, but really recruit. Social media, I think, are the 2 biggest keys, and then have someone do contract, things like that. And then having that vision so my staff, guys, and we paid them $500. That's it to start, every single one that came on board, right? Their lives look a lot different now. But guess what? I projected that vision out for them. This is what's going to happen. And I was willing to do the work. Just like when I told my wife a little over 2 years ago, I said, I need 2 years. I wasn't going to tell her that if I was going to die for it. See, and I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying this is your choice. You have a choice. You run a business or you don't. But if you want to run a real business, anybody, I mean, the guy that owns a hotel, the guy that owns a restaurant, talk to those guys. Those guys are not successful by not working a lot of hours. They do work hours. So if you're looking for the freedom just so you can go, vacation all the time or take a bunch of time off, you got to change. So I think thinking about that, when they first start out, you have to treat it like a job, as bad as I hate to say that, because you have to show up early. Because when I was in careers where I was trying to make a name for myself, do that, Ty, what I would do is be the first one in the office and the last one to leave every single day. And that's a business owner. He's the one that's cleaning the toilets. He's the one that starts. So that's how your mindset has to be. And if you do that, I'm just being real with you. That's how people are successful in this business. They don't take their foot off the gas, and it's not forever that way. Now, I mean, Sean, I get a chance to know, he still does it, but it just looks different. Now we can operate our phones from here, and that's the other thing that's great about it. Evan is telling us you can go out and sell whatever, and then so when it comes to recruiting, just be purposeful with all the different ways of recruiting. But the biggest one is just talking to everybody you meet and posting on social media and just being constantly, 10, 12, 14, however many hours you want to work a day or more, constantly doing it. So some of you guys can go out in the field and make what you need to do in 2 or 3 days. And the rest of the time it should be recruiting and training and doing all the other things that go with it. So just be very powerful and purposeful with your time. And then when you're with your family and you're with your kids or whoever, also be intentional with that, right? I'm not the best at that. I'm very bad. I'm not a good I can't even say the word, compartmentalize stuff very good. I'm just not. It's hard for me. So if I have anything that's turning the switch off, it's hard. And I think if you can get to that point, you're probably on the way to where you need to be.
Sure. I appreciate that answer, man.
I know that's a lot, but just.
No, I mean, that's exactly what you were thinking too, which I love. It's transparent. Do you, in terms of like, if you, because the thing with getting to a point where you're at, you have to have other leaders, you have to have other people selling insurance, making money doing it. Like, what are some things that you could give tips to, if a brand new agent walked in, like, what do you tell agents that come on with you? What's your expectations you set? What are some goals you give them? Or, what do you do there? What would you recommend or tip agents?
I think, one of the things that we've always done is, obviously want to get people making money right away. But I also think everybody's different. Everybody wants something different. So I'm, talking to Ryan Reynolds and some of these other guys, Josh Williams, some of the things they're doing. We've kind of implemented that without calling it anything, but really just saying, hey, do you want to build a business or do you want to, just sell? Right. So I think the person just wants to sell. We have to treat them this way. If they're want to do this way, we got to treat them. And these are things we're trying to implement. Right. Meaning if Evan wants to build, I might talk to him different than say, Lee, I'll just use an example of Sam. He wants to sell, meaning Evan should probably be on the Zooms like he is right now. He should be on every leader call I might have or whatever the case is. He grows the business. My point is the path is different. That's not to say that Lee may eventually come and say, hey, I want to build a team. I'm watching what's going on. But dude, it's not that hard to go out there and just open your, iPad and do something. Be there for them the first 10 appointments, all those things. But I think it's really just getting money in their pocket as quick as possible. So one of the things we always talk about is getting prosperity in their hands right away. Obviously, other carriers are coming in. The quicker they start dialing the phone and getting beat up on the phone, I think is another thing we get them to do. Because the quicker, you hear this 1,000 times, but it's true. The quicker you can run 100 appointments, the faster you're going to figure this thing out. And it may not even take 100. So that's the thing with me, Ty. When I started, I just was, I was just running through leads, seeing people, trying to figure this thing out, and I was making sales along the way. And but I just didn't overthink anything. And I think that's what happens. People come in here, it's real simple, guys. Dial the phone. If you're having trouble, ask somebody. Get on Zoom to learn, get better at it. Okay. but if you commit to 12 to 15 appointments, then dial the phone till you're done. That doesn't mean if you start at 7:30 in the morning and at 12, you've got 5, you're done, or 3, you've got 6. If you committed to 12 or 15, then do that. Now, the other thing is a new agent too, Ty. And I remember when I did this, I was dialing the phone when I was in the field because I didn't have enough appointments. I wasn't good enough, right? So I was always dialing or door knocking or whatever I had to do to get those appointments. But I think it's just figuring out which path they want to go and then going with that. But I also think, regardless of anything else, if they want to, the guys that want to build, we should have them recruiting right away. Putting stuff on social media. I think a lot of new agents come here and think they need to wait until they know everything, and that's crazy. Why? Because they have guys like you. So why wouldn't, if I'm Kelvin's dad, but if I was Kelvin's dad, and it'd be like, hey, let me introduce you to Ty. Let me introduce you to Evan. These guys are great. Let me tell you a little bit about them, right? So let them talk to them about the opportunity, because you don't know nothing other than you're just kind of getting started, right? But you use the people around you. I've got guys that I'm with now, and they know this business inside out, but they don't know family first life like we. Now they're getting there, but in the beginning it was like, hey, Dave, what is this about? And so we have to remember that we have people that can help us, and so put it on them. But you should start recruiting from the beginning, in my mind. I hope that was the answer. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm ADD. I apologize.
That makes sense. Well, cool. No, does anybody else have any specific question like that, Dave? If you want to just throw it in the comments. I appreciate that, Dave, because obviously you're doing something right. But I'm always curious too, man, like what keeps you rolling, man? Because you got a motor. You don't stop. Like it's obviously it's not the money. I don't think it ever has been, at least from what I can see.
I research my heart every day. Like I just don't want to let people down, man. I wanted to be on the team. People ask me about integrity to change life. Yeah, I'm on the team. Yes, yeah. I mean, guys, I'm not trying to say the money's not good and all that, but that's the truth, dude. It just wasn't the same. And I talked to some of the other partners. Like, you're already on the team. No, now I am. But what am I going to do with it, right? So now it's, like sometimes I get up early. Somebody asks, why do you get up early? Because there's other people watching. If I can inspire one more person today to change their life, then that's what I want to try to do. So if it's one more phone call that they see, if it's one more meeting that they see, if it's me getting up a little earlier than they did, if it's traveling somewhere that I don't necessarily have to, but it's for somebody else, I just believe that God's got us here to help each other. And that's just my vision, is to do his work. And this is where he has me. So when I wake up every day, it's really about that. Is how can I inspire somebody else to get better? And including myself, it means I got to get better. So how I do that is I constantly read, I constantly listen, I constantly watch podcasts. And I'm just a work in progress, just like everybody else. I'm just trying to get better every single day. So I just hope that I can, when I get a message that somebody says, man, this changed my life, or, hey, that's why. It's one, there's haters everywhere. There's people that don't believe. There's people that, well, he's lucky, whatever. They don't know. I'm not saying that's all with me, but I'm just saying in general, people overthink what other people are thinking about them. At the end of the day, if you get up every day trying to serve others, trying to do the very best you can do to become better, you treat others around you with respect, love, and care, dude, you can't really lose. It's the people that all they think about is themselves are the ones that I think struggle. And I try to almost purposely never do that. Like, my wife is my best friend, and even if I catch myself wanting to complain to her, it's almost like, did I really just say that to her? Even though, we have things we have to talk about, aches, pains, whatever. But at the end of the day, I just want to just help you guys. There's nothing better to see you guys win, which is why when you asked me to get on this call, dude, if I'm able to get on anybody's call and share one thing that might change somebody's life, I'm gonna try.
I appreciate your heart, man. I got one more for you. So, Sean is like very, very good at simplifying this business. And I think you do a very good job of that too. But then there's also people that overcomplicate this thing and then they never do anything. But like, what's kind of not necessarily like a pitch, but how do you explain, you know, how do you explain this business to someone that has no idea? Like, what's kind of like if you had to say, if you just met me and I'm not licensed, I'm not in insurance, but I'm a hustler. I'm ready to get after. I'm ready to work, and I want to help make money for my family. What are you saying to me? You know, like a quick little, almost like an elevator pitch, if you will.
Um, I think it's, Ty, I would ask you, what are your goals? Like, where do you want to see yourself? Obviously, in 3 to 6 months, where do you want to see yourself in, 2 to 5 years, things like that. And they might say, well, I want to make this money, but no, but really, what is it? Like, let's just say money wasn't an option. You had money. What are some things that you'd want to do? What I'm trying to dig at is what their why is. Ty. Like, what's your burning desire to go out and work hard every day? What's your burning desire to do things other people aren't willing to do? So I think it's really just having that conversation to figure out where a person is. I think that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, and then also like explaining what you do on a day-to-day basis.
What I do on data. So I think it's hey, hey man, we're in the insurance business. We're blessed to have systems where we call people that have asked for our help. Okay, it's a lead that comes in. I don't overthink it. We have all different types of leads. We have a CRM full of leads. We have all kinds of different leads. Wherever you can get them, we use them. And so we go out and see people. We sit with them, and we put them in the best situation for their families. And we get paid really, really well to do that. Does that sound like something you could do? Are you okay on the phone? Would you mind picking up the phone? You could ask questions like that. Well, I'm not sure. Okay. But you explain to them it's not that big a deal. And you kind of walk them through what that is. Heather, if you pick up, do you think you could dial the phone, a couple hundred times if you needed to take care of your family? You think you could go see 10, 12, 15 families over the course of a couple days in your car, show up at their house, work 8, 10 hours in the field, seeing people to change your family's life? Would you be willing to do that? So I think it's just going through what we actually do. I tell them it's a great positive environment. I think for me, it's not just teaching people about the insurance business, but hopefully teaching them about life and the things they can go through. I'm older, so I have been through some stuff. See, that's the other thing too. I think people come in here and expect it just to happen overnight. At the end of the day, there's a reason. There's some time for everyone to go through. All of us have that time, and I think God's preparing us. But the quicker we go through that work ethic, the quicker we get those bumps on our heads and things like that, Ty, the quicker you go out there, make mistakes, don't be afraid of mistakes, the faster you're going to grow, and no matter what you do. If you look at all the NBA players, you look at Kobe, and you look at all those guys, yes, they were talented, but man, they showed up earlier than everybody else. They took more shots than everybody else, but they were burning desire to be great. So where do you want to be? Like you want to have a great business. And so I think it's really, people will start talking to you and tell you maybe it's their mom and dad they want to retire. Maybe they've got somebody sick in their family they want to take care of. Maybe they want to bring their wife home for work. Maybe they want to have kids and they're financially be able to do so. So find those burning desires and use those things. And then it's easier to hold them accountable to that. Not what you're trying to get them to do, but what they're wanting to do for their families.
Makes sense. I like that answer. I think that was the only question we had. Well, I appreciate you, Dave. Keep it right at 30 minutes. Keep rolling, man. Excited to be in business with you, and keep the hammer down.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I hope it, I said one thing, like I said, that makes a difference. But I just think, guys, listen, search your heart, man. Search your heart every day. Ask yourself why you're doing it. If you know why you're doing this thing, it's easy to go out there and do what we do. It's not that big a deal. And, I was talking to, there's virtual people do that. I think it's great. I do think there's something about being in the car that there's just something about get some pork rinds and a bottle of water and never get out of your car and all you're doing is going to houses all day. Dude, you grow. going to places you've never been, meeting people you've never met. It's amazing how you grow in this business. And so don't be afraid of that. It's just growth. It's part of our process. And I just challenge you all to every day just get up and figure out how I can get better. And if you do that, you're going to be okay. And I'm here to help any of you.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man. Y'all keep going. All right.
I'm out.
Evan, you doing good, man? Cool. All right, guys.
Cool.
All right, see you tonight, Ty. Thanks, guys.